Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a novel you probably think you have all figured out, Jane Austen's Emma. But trust me, under all that matchmaking and quaint village life, there's a story that was quietly changing the game for fiction forever.
Right, so when you hear Jane Austen, you probably think of witty love stories, right? Social comedies, dances, maybe Colin Firth. But a lot of critics will tell you that with Emma, she was up to something way more radical. She wasn't just writing another romance. She was running an experiment that would completely reshape what a novel could even do.
So you have to be asking, how on earth can a story about a few families in a sleepy little village be that revolutionary? Well, here's the secret. It's not really about the plot. It's about how Austen tells it. It's all about whose head she puts us inside. And that's what we're going to uncover today, the hidden genius of this masterpiece.
All right, first things first, we've got to talk about our main character, Emma Woodhouse. She's the hero of our story, but she is absolutely not like any hero you would have read about before her time.
And get this, Austen knew exactly what she was doing. She said it herself. She wasn't trying to create some sweet, lovable girl for everyone to root for. Nope. She was building a character who was complicated, who was difficult, and who was really, really flawed.
I mean, the book literally opens by telling us that Emma has it all. She's good-looking, she's smart, and she is loaded. She has almost nothing in her life to cause her any real stress. Her story isn't about survival, it's not a struggle for security. She's already at the very top of her world.
And this, right here, is a total game changer. You know, most heroines back then, they needed to get married. It was about survival, financially and socially. But Emma, with a 30,000-pound fortune, which was an enormous amount of money back then, she doesn't need a husband. She even says she's never going to marry. That financial independence gives her something most women could only dream of: power. The power to run her own life, and, as she thinks, the power to run everybody else's too. Okay, so here's where things get really cool. This is the secret sauce. How does Austen tell Emma's story? Well, she doesn't just describe her from a distance. She uses this totally groundbreaking technique that puts us right inside Emma's very smart, very confident, and very biased mind. It's this amazing trick called free indirect discourse. Think of it like a literary mind meld. The story is told in the third person, so it feels like a normal narrator, but that narrator's voice just melts into Emma's own thoughts. What that means for us, the reader, is that we're not seeing the world as it really is. We are seeing the world exactly as Emma sees it, with all her assumptions and all her blind spots. Okay, take this line for example. Emma has decided to take her new, much less sophisticated friend Harriet under her wing, and the narrator says she was confirmed in her kind designs. Now that phrase, kind designs, sounds perfectly nice, right? Sounds like a fact, but is it? No, that is not the objective narrator talking. That is 100% Emma. That's her telling herself that what she's doing, meddling in her friend's life, is for Harriet's own good. And because Austen just slips it into the narration, we fall for it. We start to see her meddling as kindness, too. We are right there with her, inside her delusion. And she does it again and again. Later on, Emma gets it in her head that Harriet is falling for the handsome Frank Churchill. And the narration tells us that Emma was so pleased to see this strengthened character in her friend. But it's a complete fantasy. Harriet couldn't care less about Frank Churchill. The strengthened character is just something Emma wants to see, so she sees it. It's totally made up. And because we're locked inside Emma's head, the narration reports her little daydream as if it's a fact. Austen doesn't just tell us Emma is self-deluded, she makes us experience that delusion right alongside her. It's brilliant. So you might be wondering, what happens when you live inside someone else's delusion? Well, eventually reality has a way of crashing the party. And for Emma, this leads to one embarrassing, painful blunder after another. Let's just list the greatest hits, shall we? First, she convinces Harriet to turn down a proposal from a perfectly good farmer who actually loves her because Emma thinks she should aim higher, for the vicar, Mr. Elton. But that backfires spectacularly when it turns out Mr. Elton is a social climber who is trying to marry Emma the whole time. Awkward. Then, she flirts with Frank Churchill, completely oblivious to the fact that he's secretly engaged to Jane Fairfax. She just misreads every single situation, causing real pain for her friend Harriet. And all of this, it just builds and builds until it finally explodes at a picnic on a place called Box Hill. This is the moment where Emma's confidence, her cleverness, all the things she's so proud of, finally tip over into something really ugly. This is the big turning point of the whole book. So, in front of everyone, in this moment of just casual arrogance, she publicly insults Miss Bates, who is this very kind but very chatty older woman who doesn't have much money. It's a cutting joke, aimed at someone who is completely defenseless, and for the first time in the whole story, someone is there who will not let her get away with it.
And that someone is Mr. Knightley, her old friend, and basically the moral compass of the whole novel. And he is horrified. He pulls her aside and just lets her have it. And his words are like a bucket of ice water for Emma and for us. For the first time, that little bubble we've been living in, Emma's head, is burst. And we're forced to see her actions from the outside, for what they really were, cruel.
This moment of total, crushing shame is what finally allows Emma to change. The delusion is shattered, and she starts this really difficult journey toward actually knowing herself.
The very next day, she goes to Miss Bates to apologize, which is a huge step for her. And with this new clarity, this ability to see things as they are, she has a shocking realization. She's in love with Mr. Knightley, the one person who always challenged her, who always told her the truth even when it hurt. That's the person she really loves. By the end, she's learned to see past her own ego, and it opens her up to real happiness.
And you know, this is why her story is so timeless. Her journey of being so sure of yourself, making huge mistakes, and then finally learning to see clearly, that's universal. It's a story that just keeps getting retold, from the amazing 90s comedy Clueless to all the different film versions. Each one taps into that same struggle to see the world and ourselves a little bit better.
So in the end, that revolutionary trick that Austen pulled, forcing us inside a flawed person's head, it does more than just tell a story. It leaves us with a really big question. In our world of social media feeds and algorithm bubbles that confirm everything we already think, how good are we at seeing beyond our own perspective? It just goes to show you how a 200-year-old book can feel more relevant right now than ever before.